and welcome to Fifth Gear Europe, the show which brings you the most exciting and informative motoring stories from across the continent. In this episode, Jonny and I try to find the fastest way round France's biggest traffic jam. Tim Schrick is in Italy to find out if the sporty version of Maserati's Quattroporte is any good. Car journalist Frank Jacobs takes a look at the world's most powerful motorsport, tractor pulling. And we find out if Brazilian racing driver Bruno Senna can emulate his famous uncle as he competes in a GT race at the Nürburgring.
Traffic jams. Unless you're a fan of backache or picking your nose, they are motoring's most frustrating and miserable experiences.
And when you're stuck in them, one thought usually springs to mind. If I'd taken the back roads, would I have reached my destination sooner?
Well, today we're going to find out. We've come to the east of Paris, at the junction of the A4 and the A86, reputedly the site of Europe's worst traffic jam. Every morning, over 30,000 vehicles heading into Paris get here and just stop. The tailbacks can stretch to 10 kilometres.
So today we're going to act like wasps and head straight for the jam. I'll be taking the more direct route through the traffic,
while I'm going to go the back lanes, avoiding all the main roads.
All we've got to do is get from here in Fontenay-sous-Bois to the Palais Omnisport Paris-Bercy, which is just the other side of Europe's biggest traffic jam.
I'll see you at the arena.
To carry out our little experiment, we've got two perfect city cars, Citroën C1s. I'm in a 1 litre petrol, while Jonny's in a 1.4 litre diesel version.
Morning.
Hello.
It's quite early, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm ready for this, you know. I'm really prepared.
You're going to be really bored, mate. Kiss my diesel.
Bye.
As neither of us were familiar with Paris, we had the help of sat-navs. Mine said my journey was just over 14 kilometres, and it didn't take long before I joined the back of the jam.
After 1 mile, keep left, A86 towards Paris.
You'll be lucky, love.
Well, look, OK. According to my sat-nav, I should arrive at my destination in 13 minutes. OK? Bear that in mind.
The race was on and I was sure I could beat Tom. Trouble was, I wasn't the only person trying to take the back roads.
Right, well, already I'm stuck in traffic. I've been on the road for 4 minutes and I'm down a really narrow lane. Cars parked either side, badly, and there's a truck delivering what looks like an armoured gate.
Although I hadn't exactly opened up an early lead.
I've got a real big smile on my face because I've just gone over the motorway where Wookie is, and it's absolutely bumper to bumper there. You can't even see the tarmac. All you can see is just painted cars.
But at least all Tom had to do was drive in a straight line.
Tournez à droite. I'm turning droite.
My zigzag shortcutting left me somewhat disorientated.
This is confusing. Paris is this way, so I must be going the right way, I think. Although I was in Paris to start with.
Still, all this driving around gave me an opportunity to test the C1.
Has got a bit of poke in it. You just don't have to rev it like you do the petrol C1, which is 3-cylinder and fairly gutless low down. I've just pulled away in third. But you can pull away in third in a diesel.
You know, I bet Jonny thought he'd got the upper hand with his talky little diesel, but he's only got about 56 PS. I've got 69, of course. A lot smoother because it's a petrol engine. Best of all, about 2 seconds quicker to 100 kph.
At €9,000, the petrol C1 cost €2,750 less than its diesel brother, and it's only a few kilometres per litre worse on fuel. So the petrol C1 is the one to buy. But which car would get to the finish line first? For now, it didn't feel like mine, because I was making very, very, very slow progress.
We are kind of moving, but it's like 1 mile an hour.
But at least I could indulge in some home comforts.
The onboard microwave oven. Just got to plug that in. Some rather lovely couscous de la Maserati. Obviously, this is handy when you're hungry. Just no fork.
I'm at a crossroads now. I've got about 20 seconds to make a decision of where I'm going to go. The sat-nav says to go hairpin right. I could go straight on or I could go left. It's on. Yeah, all right, okay. I'm going to disobey it, I'm going to disobey it, I'm going to disobey it. I'm going to go straight ahead. Right, okay, I've obviously made a grave error because I'm now joining the motorway. This was not part of my remit.
This is getting ridiculous now. I bet Johnny's just off scything through the back streets.
Hang on, what's this? My sat-nav has taken me into an underground car park.
Johnny's so going to beat me now.
Oh, awesome, it's free.
Seen these? It's basically a portable toilet. Hang on. God. I hope these people can't see me. Oh.
Okay, I'm in more traffic now. I'm starting to get cramped, starting to get a little bit irritable. The sat-nav says I'm only 6 minutes away. Wow, 6 minutes, yeah. Well, it said I was 9 minutes away 20 minutes ago, so I don't know what to believe anymore.
Hang on, I think this is my exit. This is where I come off. Serapi. I've got a chance.
I think I'm near, I'm not far.
Come on, getting off.
Oh, hang on. It's telling me my destination's on the left-hand side. On the other road.
We can make it.
That's my destination.
We were both homing in on our target, but who had got there first?
You have reached your destination.
Come on!
The big hairy one had won.
I so won. Hiya. Where have you been?
Well, how the hell have you got here? I'm trying to work it out.
I've still been in the traffic.
No, you haven't.
And yet I cruised through, I'm relaxed. We've had a little bit of lunch on the way here. I mean, what have you been doing?
I've just been driving.
It's only 8 miles, Johnny.
Yeah, I know, and I've been in urban nonsense from the minute we left. I went into a car park by complete accident because I tried to take a shortcut.
No, you see, the traffic's not as bad as you think. You just have to know how to negotiate it.
The Maserati Quattroporte, a beautiful car that's never been easy to recommend. In the past, it suffered from a jerky gearbox, unconvincing suspension, and the lack of low-down grunt. This luxury sports saloon has never been as good as you'd want. Now we've got the Quattroporte S, a new version costing 125,500 euros. So, is it any better? The S looks the same as the standard car, which was recently facelifted to have a new grille, LED lamps and side skirts. Under the skin, however, the S might start to justify its additional 9,000 euro price tag. For starters, the V8 has been increased from 4.2 to 4.7 liters. That means you get 439 PS rather than 405, which is hopefully enough to make the Quattroporte finally feel as fast as it looks. So 439 PS sounds good, but when you relate it to the weight of almost 2 tons, then it's just okay. The extra power doesn't have a massive effect on performance. 0 to 100 takes 5.4 seconds, but the standard car manages it in 5.6. A 0.2 second gain isn't much for all that extra cash. But fortunately, that's not the end of the story, because it's not only the engine Maserati have changed. For a start, it comes with their skyhook suspension, an additional electronic damper system,
So on this bumpy roads, it's a play against the physics, because this car is heavy, big car, and if you're not go on sport mode, then the car moves like a big ship. And if you go on sport mode, then it's very hard and stiff. The wheels lose contact to the ground a little bit. So this is just between. I would like to have a half sport button. I think the steering, there is too much of power assistance. The car is very big. You don't feel anything in the steering in your hands.
Then we come to the gearbox. Maserati have had a habit of fitting their cars with some extremely complex and clunky pedal shift gearboxes in recent years. But the S comes with a very simple 6-speed auto.
So in the normal mode, the gear change is very smooth. It's just for comfort use. It's almost perfect, smooth gear change. And if you change to the sport mode, and when you then accelerate and change gear, it's a faster gear change. A little more harder, but it's still a very, very comfortable gear change.
Which is good news. But although the Quattroporte S might have a little more power and a better gearbox, this particular Maserati has some way to go before it can justify that sport badge on its backside. My advice would be to go for the standard model and simply enjoy the car for its best feature: its stunning looks.
Still to come on Fifth Gear Europe, Bruno Senna racing at the Nürburgring and some heavy-duty farming in Holland.
I'd like to talk to you about the craziest motoring sports in Europe. It all started back in the 19th century when farmers used to have competitions to see whose horse could pull the most weight.
These days, though, it's a lot noisier. This is tractor pulling. We're in the southern Netherlands, just outside Eindhoven, where a crowd of nearly 10,000 fanatical supporters are watching the most powerful motorsport on earth. Some of these machines have 8,000 horsepower.
But how on earth would you get 8,000 horsepower out of one single engine? Well, you don't. You take 2, 3, or even 4 engines.
And don't think they stick to tractor engines. These guys use engines out of aircraft. For a while, the big V12 engines out of World War II aeroplanes were a popular choice. But now gas turbines from big helicopters are often used. The Russian Isotov turbine is a big favorite and it's got 2,000 horsepower.
But what would you need all that massive power for? Well, to pull this is what they call the weight transfer sledge.
When the tractor starts off, this weight sits over the rear wheels. And as the tractor starts to move, a chain drags the weight forward, which digs the massive sled plate into the ground.
It gets heavier and heavier.
Eventually, the sled plates dig so far into the ground, even 8,000 horsepower is not enough. The winner, very simply, is the tractor that gets the furthest down the course. I went to meet Henk Bosman, owner of Rising Star, one of the biggest and fastest tractors and the favorite to win tonight's A-Division category.
The total machine costs 100,000 euros.
Oh, that's a lot of money. And
Yeah,
the fuel consumption?
Fuel consumption is about 20 liters a run. That is, a run is about 10 till 15 seconds.
And the reason Rising Star burns all that fuel is because it uses 3 of those Isotov engines, producing nearly 6,000 horsepower. The secret of a good run is not just flooring the throttle. You need to make a good start so that lots of momentum can be built up before the sled starts digging into the ground. And for that, you need lots of grip and smooth acceleration. The A-Division finals were underway. I went to cheer Rising Star on. She rocketed off the line and eventually hauled the sled an impressive 107.55 meters. The best of the evening so far. But in the end, Rising Star had to be content with second place. A machine called Simply Irresistible pipped her by just a few centimeters. Looks like Hank may need some more power.
Great, thank you very much.
Yeah.
In motorsport, heritage can be just as important as choosing the right tyres, because the past is a great inspiration for the future. And the names Mercedes and Senna are packed with more history than most. One, the grandfather of the motor car, and the other, one of the greatest drivers ever. Today, at the Nürburgring in Germany, both names have come together once again. We've been given privileged access to follow GP2 star Bruno Senna, nephew of the legendary Ayrton, as he pilots this Mercedes SLR around the Nürburgring in a special GT trophy race. Back in 1984, his uncle Ayrton raced here in a Mercedes and won, just before breaking into Formula One. So, with Bruno at the wheel today, will history repeat itself?
Years have moved on, and now I'm here driving a much nicer car than he did back then. It is just a coincidence, not something that is planned, but hopefully I can drive here and win here before I get to Formula One, and hopefully when I get to Formula One, it's going to be soon.
His car is the most extreme Mercedes-McLaren SLR available, the 722 GT. The standard SLR has 635 PS, but the 722 has 690, as well as being stripped out to the tune of nearly 400 kilograms. Only 21 of them exist, all hand-built by British sports car experts RML. With qualifying about to begin, it's time to see how Bruno handles this racing Batmobile around the Nürburgring. And he's going to be up against some pretty stern competition. Legendary touring car champion Klaus Ludwig is here, as well as McLaren's chief test driver Chris Goodwin and former Ferrari F1 driver Jonny Lacey. Despite being more accustomed to driving single-seaters, Bruno soon got to grips with the GT. Under the watchful eye of the pit crew, he chipped away at his lap times, eventually finishing third on the grid, just behind Jonny Lacey and Klaus Ludwig. While the teams went to work on Bruno's car to download the performance data, he gave us his thoughts on qualifying.
My best lap, my first sector was quite careful because I had a bit of a lock-up on the previous lap into the first corner. Now on the last lap, the lap that I came in, I had a really good first sector, so it was going to be a really good lap. Unfortunately, into one of those corners, I just used the white line a little bit again, and then it locked up and I lost the lap. So the tires are past their best now, and if I had more time to practice and a few more sets of tires to practice with, it would be much easier for me to decide on a car setup, but it's been good fun, that's for sure.
Clearly, Bruno thought he could do better, but in spite of this, he was only a second down on Lacey and Ludwig. Not bad for a GT rookie. It was time for the race. 5 laps of the Nürburgring. The wet weather dictated a rolling start, and as the cars went on their warm-up lap, one question remained. 24 years on, could the nephew of the legendary Ayrton Senna reenact his uncle's win, racing for the same manufacturer on the same circuit? Was it just coincidence he'd been given car number 1? The pace car brought them round to the start line, and the race was on. Into lap 1, and Bruno locked up the back end into the first corner, which helped Chris Goodwin dive up Bruno's inside and move into third position. And Bruno wasn't the only driver struggling with the wet. In lap 2, Bruno was all over Chris Goodwin, and some neat late braking saw him squeeze back into third. After 3 laps, Bruno had a good lead on Goodwin and was pushing hard to catch the leaders. when disaster struck. The brutal power delivery of the McLaren's 5.5-litre V8 bit him, and not even the SLR's ceramic brakes could save him from a detour into a gravel trap.
I think I have some gravel between my tires and my brake calipers, so I'm going in.
The race was over for Bruno, and he was forced to retire to the pits.
Tried a bit harder to catch the guys in front. Unfortunately, ended up locking up on the rears and had a trip on the gravel. After that, then it was just there was no point on trying any harder. It was a bit too slippery. But anyway.
In the end, it was Alesi that took the honours, with Ludwig coming second. For Bruno, history would not be repeated at the Nürburgring. But with a Formula One career beckoning, perhaps this isn't the last time we'll see him behind the wheel of a racing car with a McLaren badge.